Hi students, I'm creating this video for you to give you an overview of what is required for your Project 3 assignment. This assignment is a proposal presentation. The presentation can be in the form of a slideshow with a voiceover, a blog entry, a Prezi presentation, a web page that you build, or a screen recording or other kind of video. All of the examples that I've just given are multimodal communications, meaning that they include various modes of communication. Speaking, text, moving images, static images. These are various modes of communicating, and this project must be multimodal. So when you submit this project, you're going to submit to me in Learn a link to your Google site. And on your Google site in the Project 3 area, you're going to have a link that will share with me whatever multimodal proposal you've created. You're also going to include for me your slow reflections. Those will be on your Google site in the left-hand sidebar in the particular area associated with those slows. Now I'm going to scroll quickly down to the bottom here. The slows for this assignment are reviewing and editing, content management in production and delivery. Here you're asked specific questions about those slows, and lucky for you, you will have already written about them in the week 7 discussion board on the outcomes. So you'll just copy that content from that discussion board into the 3 specific areas for those outcomes on your Google site. You also need to include a project reflection. Now this is basically a document where you tell me what your goals were, what the purpose of the assignment was, who the audience was, and anything else you need me to know to evaluate how you created this project in particular. So those are 3 things that you need to do for this assignment. Now I've already told you that there are a few different ways that you can create this proposal. Because this is a very short class, I'm not actually having you write a proposal in the form of a report, which is the way you would usually think of a proposal is, a document with a particular design that would have research and all of these things and would be submitted as a docx or PDF. You're not going to produce a document. What you are going to produce is the multimodal presentation. But in order to have all of the content you need to have in the presentation, you have to do all the same planning, information gathering, research, drafting, revision as you would have to do to create a paper version. But then you're just going to pare that content down for a usable, audience-oriented presentation. I hope that makes sense. In a way, you're only having to produce one thing, a presentation, rather than 2 things, a paper and a presentation. But all of the fact-finding and information gathering you'd have to do for the paper, you do have to do for the presentation. So in this prompt, which I'm showing you right now, I go through the specifics of the assignment, and I identify the chapters in our textbook which are going to be really useful for you, chapters 14, 20, and 21, which are about research, proposals, and writing for the internet. You really need the information in those chapters to perform well on this assignment. You have to choose a specific audience for this assignment. You're not necessarily just proposing a solution to a problem to me as your professor. You're choosing a particular audience relative to the problem that you've chosen. An audience that is relevant in terms of their ability to change the problem. So this could be a mayor, this could be a school board, an entire school board, this could be an administrator. You have to identify who that audience is, and I want you to disclose who that is early in your presentation. So here's an example of it, just a simple, silly proposal about trying to convince your peers to go see a band with you. This is just to show you that you already go through the process of justifying a certain eventual decision when you are convincing people of things on a day-to-day basis. So I want to tell you specifically here that a persuasive form of communication needs to describe the situation, set goals, offer a logical step-by-step plan, explain why your organization is qualified to do the work, disclose the cost, and explain the benefits. This bullet pointed list is effectively an outline for your presentation. Think of it that way. Your presentation, whether it comes in the form of a blog, whether it comes in the form of a Prezi, whether it comes in the form of a video, it needs to cover all 6 of those areas. Now, within that, you need to make sure that your subject is clear, your purpose is clear, what you're hoping to achieve, who your readers are or who your viewers are, and what the context of this proposal is. So read the prompt really carefully. And again, here at the bottom is the grading rubric that provides a little bit more information about how I'm going to grade you on the criteria for the assignment. Now, I want to show you quickly a few examples that I found online of multimodal proposals. And I'll provide the links to these in this area of our Learn site. So the first one is a blog posting about autonomous public transportation in Beverly Hills, California. So you'll see, if you visit this site and you read it, you'll see that this writer, in fact, covers these criteria in the course of this blog post. Describes the current situation, sets goals and objectives. All of those things are in the process of this brief post covered. Some of them have subheadings to identify them, but this is not only text, it is inclusive of static images, and it has hyperlinks out. So if you're creating a blog posting, you can create hyperlinks out to other information to supplement what you are proposing. This is another blog-based proposal, which is 9 ways to make Seattle public transportation better. I was a bit hesitant to share this with you because this one is actually written more like a list than it is like a fully formed proposal document that has like an introduction and transitions and things like that. This does have an introduction, but there aren't transitions between these items really. And it doesn't really have a conclusion, and that's a problem. But what it does do, and it does really well in terms of being a multimodal proposal, is it has these static images, and they have captions beneath them. It has a map, which is a kind of a data visualization. It has many different links out. It's got all kinds of really interesting images and links, and that makes it very usefully rich and very usefully multimodal. So this is a good one to look through, and you can employ some of these tactics in your own proposal. Here we have one concerning the city of Toronto, another blog post, how can public transport work better in cities? Again, this has this data visualization, this map, and it actually includes research citation within the body, and it includes quotes from people who are stakeholders in this issue about the problematic public transportation in the city of Toronto. Again, it has links out to other information. Now, I've shown you 3 examples of ways to do this as a blog posting. Honestly, that's not what most students choose. Most students choose to do a slideshow presentation. This one was actually created by a UNM student, and it's a proposal to the UNM Board of Regents, that's a specifically disclosed audience, about developing a bike lane. This student introduces the problem, uses interesting photographs, talks about some of the reasons why UNM has already received a reputation of being bike friendly, but then the student identifies the problems that exist. Here's the current issue. So if you watch this video, and I'll include the link, you can see how carefully the student goes through identifying the problem and proposing a solution. Now, in this student's course, the student was required to do her own primary research. So she took a survey and she cites that data in her video. You do not have to do your own primary research in our class this semester, although you can if you want to. That means interviewing people or doing a survey like this and including the data. Here's her plan, and she really carefully explains what it is, shows a graphic that includes the plan. And she talks about the cost. I'm just clicking through this quickly just so you can see the most common approach students take to satisfying a proposal assignment like this one. Here is something that's sort of a blog post, but you might think of it just as a website or a web page, and it is actually a proposal to make all schools vegetarian. You can choose a website builder like Wix that has some really interesting visualizations, and you can include your information there with call out text that focuses on a particular important concept. This person also uses a lot of secondary sources, quoting from this person, president of the U.S. Cattlemen's Association, quoting from a principal of a school. This proposal is about making schools vegetarian, so these are relevant people to be quoting in the course of this proposal. Finally, this is a group of students from an online class. This is a longer project than yours is. It's 13 minutes long, but this group of students proposed to create an online course in water safety that caregivers and parents could take in the comfort of their own homes to learn better practices of keeping children safe around bodies of water, because there clearly is a problem concerning that, and they've come up with an intervention to address that problem. This is 13 minutes long, as I said. Yours does not need to be this long. It can only be 5 minutes long if you are doing a video. But one of the things that I really like about this is it includes so many interesting and effectively used different kinds of information conveyance. It includes data visualizations. It includes some of this is clip art. It includes images that appeal to different kinds of people. This is not just a single age group or a single ethnicity. It's trying to speak to various people who are around water, right? It has different justifications used and really uses Google Slides or PowerPoint, however they created this in an effective way. So those are some examples of how you can successfully satisfy this project, but make sure whatever problem you identify, whatever audience it concerns, and to whomever you're proposing it, that you go through all of these criteria, all of these aspects of the proposal to make sure that you satisfy all of the components that it needs to have. And with that, I'm going to sign off, and you can contact me if you have any questions.